Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to talk about a video that I had did about 2 years ago called Instant Girlfriend, No Waiting Required in the Philippines. This time I'm going to revisit the topic with my friend Paul. Stick around. Okay guys, so I have my friend Paul here, and we're going to revisit a topic that I did about 2 years ago. And briefly I want to just kind of tell you how I came up with that. And I was actually in Davao at the time, and I was sitting at the Starbucks at the SM, looking down. I had a bird's eye view, and I saw a Filipina and like a Western guy, both on their phones. I could see them at opposite ends of the mall, like on their phones, kind of standing there. And I figured looks like they were texting each other, trying to figure out where each other was. And a couple minutes later, I saw them meet up, and fast forward about an hour later, I'm still sitting there. I like to drink coffee and keep a watch, and there they are, arm around each other, holding hands. And I thought to myself, instant girlfriend. No waiting required, because I myself had an experience like that when I first landed here in the Philippines. I had chatted with a girl for about 6 weeks or so. She didn't meet me at the airport, but I met her the very next day at a coffee shop, and literally we were boyfriend, girlfriend almost immediately. Have you ever had an experience like that?
It's like girls I've chatted with after my divorce in 2013. I came to the Philippines a few times, and girls I've chatted with online, and chatted with them a month or 2 months, and came here and like instantly. I mean, we're talking. Sometimes they meet me at the hotel room, and we're and same here when I moved here. You meet a girl, and within a day or two or hours, she wants to be your girlfriend, and sometimes within an hour or two, she's telling you that she loves you.
Yeah.
So it's just a different culture here, different environments.
It definitely is, because in the West, I was used to, and not only us guys, but the girls, they always want to really slow things down. Like, hey, let's not rush things. Let's not put a label on this yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it comes from both sides, the girls and the guys. So the first thing I wanted to ask you, get your opinion on, then I'll give you my 2 cents. But why do you think women say "I love you" so quickly? And do you think "I love you" has a different meaning here than it does in the West?
I've tested this out. Like, girls have told me "I love you," and then I ask them the following question: What does that mean to you? And their faces go completely blank. Mm-hmm. Like, no one's ever asked them that, and they don't have an answer. So I don't really. I think when they say "I love you" here, it means I like you. You're a potential partner for me. I want to know you more, type of deal. They just throw it out like it's nothing. Well, maybe in the West we're more reserved with throwing that word out because we know the depth of that word, maybe. And I don't know if they do it with Filipinos as fast as they do it with us.
Yeah.
But there's also a big difference between how Filipina women treat Filipinos and how they treat foreigners. And that's a lot to do with the Filipino culture, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah, that's a point that we'll get to a little bit later. But for me, I kind of feel the same thing. I almost feel like the "I love you" just doesn't really have the same meaning. Now, the "I love you," I don't know if there's a clear definition anyway for it. So there's no saying they are right or we are right. It's just we just have a different.
There's not a definition, but for me, I know what it means for me. So if somebody asked me what it meant for you, I could tell them what it means for me.
Yeah.
While when you ask, I'm not saying all Filipinas, but the ones I've asked, their faces go blank. Like, they have no answer. Well, that means I like you. That means I want to be with you. It's like, it's not. It's like they almost haven't thought it through. It's just something to be thrown out there, and I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think it has the depth of meaning. Of course it doesn't. If someone says "I love you" after knowing you for a day or an hour or even a week, they don't really know you. So how can they really love you? It just means they love what maybe it means what they love what you can offer them. I don't know.
True.
Like the whole picture, not you as a person, but the whole picture.
Right.
I don't know.
I've had that like online. You get that online probably even more so. But even when you meet them in person here, I've had the I love yous really just after a day or two. Like later after the date, they're like, oh, I love
Text you.
Yeah, text you, and I'm like, wow.
What?
And
that must be special.
yeah, I would really like to know if Filipinos also get that same thing, and maybe that's a future video.
I can't say, but from speaking to some Filipinos, I'd say probably not. They go more slowly with Filipinos, and that's to do with the culture and
I think so
courting
too.
And all that. We said we want to talk about that later, so I'll get into that.
Yeah. So we both kind of agree that the I love yous just have a different meaning, and it just seems a bit more casual to them.
It is very casual.
Yeah. So my second point was, and we kind of touched on this, but is there kind of a double standard with Filipinos and Westerners on how fast a relationship moves? So I'll let you reply first.
Well, double standards has negative connotations with it, right? But it's really not that it's a double standard.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that with the Filipinos, they're used to a certain way of dating. With foreigners, they're used to a different way of dating. So they know if they see a foreigner is not going to go weeks or months without getting to the final stage, while a Filipino will, because that's their way of dating. The courting, the whole part, meeting the parents.
Right.
Well, they know foreigners are not into that, and foreigners here are very popular, so they can't really demand it from them either, because more than likely the foreigner will say, no, I don't think so, I'll move on to the next one,
Right.
Which is kind of a pity, because the courting, the way they do it here is actually very...
it's very old-fashioned.
It's very old-fashioned. I kind of like it.
So for me, there's a few things about that. One, I think a lot of times a foreigner is just coming out here for a couple of weeks. Maybe he's only coming out here for a month or something like that. Maybe they're chatting online and they know that, okay, listen, I got 2 weeks to get this guy to fall in love with me or to pull him into a relationship. And so maybe there's a bit of a time constraint as well.
That's a good point.
And then if there's a guy that lives here, I agree with you. There's a lot of competition, and I think they probably want to reel you in as quickly as possible because you have a lot of what she is looking for. Financial security, a better life, maybe a mixed baby. They really love the mixed babies here.
Mixed babies.
They do.
That's number uno.
It really is. Some will. That's a whole other topic, but yeah. So.
Some will offer to have a baby with you and not have anything to do with you. It's just give me a baby and I'm done.
Yeah, I've had that, and probably a lot of Westerners who are watching this have.
They really love mixed babies.
They do.
Baby is a blessing. Mixed baby is a double blessing.
Yeah, right. All babies are a blessing in the Philippines. A mixed baby is just quadruple the blessings. Yeah,
it really is.
All right. So, next bullet point is there a danger to moving too fast into these relationships?
Oh my goodness.
I knew you would think so.
Yeah, there's a big danger.
And are there any positives? Let's go both ways. Okay.
Well, there's two different scenarios, right?
Okay.
There's a scenario where you come here on a vacation or a 2-3 week visit.
Okay.
Of course, then you have to go fast. You have no choice.
You do,
right?
Yeah, right.
And versus living here, okay, or taking a year off work and coming here, spending a year here. If you're living here or going to spend some time here, the worst thing you can do is go fast, because there are so many possibilities here and so many options. And when you move here, you have the Western mentality. You haven't quite set into the mentality of living here, and the abundance mentality, I call it. It's like there's so much abundance here. You can basically choose. You have your pick of the litter, basically, here.
Yeah. So
you have to take it slowly, because the one you choose in instant, more than probably, won't be the best one for you. And more than probably, you're not the best one for her, because it's a compatibility thing too, right? It's a chemistry thing.
I think people lose a lot of Westerns, and I'm guilty of it as well.
Yeah,
But
me too.
when you get out here, you're literally like a kid in a candy store, and all this beauty and youth, and they're interested in you, and you just you jump right into the instant relationship too, because you're almost caught up in the moment as well. You know what I mean? So
Well,
it's just at
When
the
you
beginning.
when you live in the desert and you come over to a place with
Yeah.
plenty of water, you drink the first gallon of water you see, the first liter of water you see, right?
That's true.
It's just like this feeling of euphoria, right? That you just want this so bad.
Right.
You're not even thinking long term. You're thinking short term, and it's just not a good deal.
That was my experience when I got here earlier the next day. Now, granted, I got lucky. She was actually a great girl. She was a working girl. She was working in a call center. But I literally jumped into that relationship saying, "Wow, she's beautiful. She's young. She's interested in me." I'm like, "Well, yeah, let's go right into an instant relationship." And
Why not?
but I didn't realize I should date a little bit and,
Yeah,
and
take your time.
Take your time. But,
See what's available.
Yeah.
Get it out of your system. That's
Yeah.
also important, because some people will come over here and start dating a girl, and after 6 months they look at all the abundance and the options and everything, and they still have that in their system that they want to date more.
Yeah.
So get it out of your system before you get into a long-term relationship.
Right. I mean, go on some dates, and
Yeah.
I get that a lot of guys don't have that time, and they chat with a girl online, and they've only got a couple of weeks. So I get that. But if you're going to come out here and you're going to live, there's no need to hurry.
Yeah.
So, for sure.
But also, I personally think, and I think a lot of people will disagree with me on this, but if you're coming out here for 3 weeks, line up more than one girl.
Yeah.
Because how you talk to somebody, how you perceive someone online can be completely different than when you see that person in person.
Right.
I mean, I've had that happen to me. I've met some wonderful girls and talked to them online. I thought, oh, this girl is wonderful. And I came here and she was fine, but she's not what I envisioned,
Yeah.
Like there was no chemistry. I mean, there was chemistry,
Yeah.
but not what I thought would be there,
Right.
So it's important that you don't be scared to hit the next button. Like, okay, I'm with her for 1 or 2 days, but she's not exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Hit the next button, because that second or third person you've lined up might be the perfect person you want to be with.
Right. Yeah, you never know. And another way really is once you get here, take a quick weekend trip someplace with her. 2 days.
Yep.
You really get to know somebody if you're 24/7.
Yeah.
With
With them.
Yeah. So the last bullet point here is: does an incident relationship happen more frequently with maybe a province girl, someone who doesn't have as an education, hasn't traveled as much? Do you think that happens more than with a educated girl who's working in the city, working a job?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I thought so.
I'll let you answer that first, and let me think about it.
I think the more exposed she's been to Western society, the better the chance that she probably better understands. Like if she's watched lots of American movies or whatever, she probably understands the love thing a little bit more. You don't just throw it out there. She probably understands that there's no need. Maybe she doesn't need to rush a relationship because she's got a job and she's got a place, and maybe things aren't as bleak for her. So I think it could have something to do with education and where you live. I can't say for sure though.
I don't know. I think my opinion would differ there. I think if
Okay.
they've lived in the city, they've been exposed to a lot of dating. Probably been with a lot more guys. The average city girl has been with a lot more guys than the average province girl. So I think more than likely, if you meet a city girl, they're willing to become an instant girlfriend versus a province girl, because she has certain social construct, morality or whatever. But girls will behave differently once you get them out of the village, and people in the village don't know what's going on, but they're also scared that somehow someone in the village would have seen her on vacation with a foreigner, because
True.
the jungle telegraph.
Yes.
You go to a different island, you think you get away from it all, but before you know it, it's a cousin or a cousin of a brother or something. You know what I mean? It's it's like they always have that mindset. So I think it actually might be harder. It might be harder that way, but I don't think it really matters whether she's a province. If she's not willing, she's not willing. When you're chatting with her, you're gonna know pretty quick whether she's willing or not.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to know. I don't know for sure either, really. So
the girls I have met, 2 of them have been. One was from Cebu City, one was from Toledo, and one was from Bacolod. The one from Bacolod was a province girl.
yeah,
Okay. Instant girlfriend.
right.
The one from Toledo was, what do you call Toledo? Province?
Yeah, I'd say province. Yeah.
She's exposed to the city too. Instant girlfriend.
Right.
The one from Cebu City. Instant girlfriend.
Right.
I don't know if it really matters. It really depends on their exposure, their family, their outlook on life, how much they want a foreigner, how much are they willing to give of themselves.
True.
How much chance are they willing to take? Also depends on the foreigner. Are they really that attracted to the foreigner? I mean, if you're 28 and come here with a 6-pack, looking good, and you probably have a lot bigger chance to seduce this 25-year-old than someone who's 65 and doesn't, maybe with a stomach and drinks beer. You know what I mean?
Right,
it
right.
has something to do with that. So.
Sure. Final thoughts on it. Are there any positives to instant girlfriend no waiting required? I think there are a few positives, but
Yeah.
What are the positives for you?
Satisfaction.
Well,
Instant satisfaction.
that's true. You want me to go first here? I'll go
Sure.
first. So, one, I think it works out great for guys who are on time constraints. They've only got a couple. I mean, for a guy to come out here multiple times for a relationship is difficult and expensive. So, a guy coming out here for 2 weeks or a month, and you enter into a serious relationship, probably a good thing for him, and probably for her too. You guys can read between the lines, but things move quicker in the Philippines in some regards. You guys can figure that out, so that's a positive. There's probably more that I just can't think of off the top of my head, but for me, I know they're not dating around. Like a Western girl, you could be dating her for a couple weeks, and she might be dating other guys, and it may mean absolutely nothing to her. It just maybe she needed somebody to do something with on a Friday night, or somebody
Take her out
to
to
go
dinner,
with.
get a free meal.
Get a free meal, right? And for Filipina, if they're dating you, it really means that they're wanting to head towards a relationship. They don't casually date here.
No.
It's not really a thing.
And if you're coming for 2-3 weeks, and she's an instant girlfriend, more than likely they're serious, and you're serious. They want you to meet their parents.
Right.
And if they want you to meet their parents, that means for them, it's really, they're not playing around.
Right.
This means they want to move on to the next stage.
Yeah, that's a thing to look for. Is do they want you to meet the family?
If they say no and they just want to go on vacation and eat some good food and hang out at the resort, it means they want to have fun with you and maybe not a serious relationship.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, thank you, Paul, for revisiting this topic. This topic's about 2 years old for me. It was my best video. I think it was my worst video I felt, and believe it or not, it hit 500,000 views. But
well, it's a really good topic because it's something that happens a lot here, and I think it's something that doesn't happen much in the West.
Right.
So people need to be aware of it. So when they come here, they kind of know the culture. They know what can happen, and not taken aback and think, "Oh, this only happens to me." No, it's part of the culture here.
Yeah. And even online, if they've never even come out here,
Yeah.
they're chatting online. You got these online where boyfriend, girlfriend. I mean, I've seen engagements, engaged to this person on Facebook, and they've never even met. And I'm not here to criticize you. I wouldn't do it myself, or I wouldn't tell other people to do it. But
I'll tell you not to do it. Okay.
why? Yeah, I know you would. Both.
I'm not neutral.
I wouldn't do it, but you know. Anyway, questions, comments, guys. I appreciate you guys watching this video. See you guys next time. Bye.
Come on, groove along. I said, baby, I know you're on a roll. Sweet honey, let's take it real slow.